very much. My name is Sai, and my speech today is titled Candles. Right. So, first, what comes to mind when you see a candle or candles? I like to think we associate candles with celebrations, birthdays, maybe a romantic experience, something of that nature. But really, candles have an interesting history. They date back to the ancient Egyptian times, 3000 BC, around that area, where they used tallow, which is like animal fat, and indigenous plants. And we can also see candles, the footprint of candles in early Chinese civilizations, where they were molded in paper tubes using wax paper. In Japan, they were made from wax that was extracted from tree nuts, while in India, candles were made by boiling the fruit of the cinnamon tree. So, I'm sure at one point or another, everyone has used candles. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is how to make your own candle. That's right, I'm going to go Martha Stewart on all you guys. So, my sister actually makes candles. She makes a lot of things. She's kind of a strange bird. She used to work in a craft shop, and that's where I first learned how to make my own candle. And it's kind of fun. And there are a few things you need to know about when you want to do it. So today I'm going to talk about the 3 basic things that you'll need to have to make your own candles. First, I want to go over finding the right materials. Then I'm going to talk with you about how to melt the wax. And lastly, I'm going to talk about how to make a specific type of candle, a molded ice cube candle, which is pretty neat. So first, let's start with the most important thing, finding the right materials. You will need wicks. Let me start over. You'll need wax, obviously. You can gather this from old candles, which would be relatively inexpensive to basically free if you just find old candles. You can purchase paraffin also, paraffin wax. You can find it at a craft store. And then you also need wicks. And you can make wicks from heavy braided cotton string, or you can purchase wicks. But actually, what I'm going to tell you about later with the molded ice cube candle, you can basically just use a like tall, skinny candle for the wick, unless you wanted to do the wick by yourself. It's a little bit harder. And according to Ray Shaw's book entitled Candle Art, heavy braided cotton string can work just as well as anything else. And after you've gotten these materials, you're going to need to set up a double boiler. If you don't have a double boiler, which most people don't have, you can basically just boil water in a pot and then put like a coffee can inside the pot, which is where you're going to melt the wax. And you're going to need a mold, which can basically be anything. I used actually a milk carton. It can be a Dixie cup, it can be an empty salt container, depending on what kind of shape you want. You can really use anything. And there are 2 optional ingredients. You can use crayons if you want to color the wax, like while it's boiling. You can put in crayons, or you can actually use wax dye, which is a little bit extravagant. I'm not even sure where you'd get it. But another optional material would be scented oil. If you want the candle to smell nice, you can put it in while it's boiling. Not boiling, but melting, excuse me. And those are optional. But once you have all the materials, you're going to need to move on to melting the wax, which brings me into my second point here. You're going to start by putting the wax in the double boiler. So you boil the water. So you have like a Folgers coffee pot that goes inside, the wax inside. You don't want it to be too hot. You don't want the wax itself to boil. You just want to melt it. And make sure not to let it boil. So then if you want to add dye or crayons or scent, this is where you would do it. And once it's melted, you can basically shape it however you like. But today I'm actually going to tell you how to make a molded ice cube candle. So basically you're going to cut off the top of, say, a milk carton, And the easiest thing to do is place a candle the size of the carton into it. You can actually use just the wick if you want, but you'd have to tie it to a base, and have it at the bottom, and have someone hold it, tie it to a popsicle string, which takes longer, it's a little bit harder. But if you just put in a candle, like a skinny candle inside the milk carton box, that's going to be a lot easier. The hardest thing is kind of keeping it in the center. And then you're going to need to break some ice into like chunks. I would recommend crushed ice because it makes smaller holes. And when the candle comes to like the finished product, it's got really nice little small holes throughout it. If you use big chunks of ice, it's going to be big holes. It's really up to you. And once the wax is melted, you're going to basically put the candle in the milk carton and then pour ice in around it, and then you pour the wax on top of it. And you're going to let it harden. You can pour off like the excess water that's going to be at the top. And then you're going to have a really nice candle once you peel the milk carton apart. You've got a candle, you can decorate it, you can give it as a gift. You can use it to light your way down a dark tunnel or something. So today, I told you 3 basic things. I told you how to find the right materials, how to correctly melt wax, and how to make an ice cube candle. Just keep in mind the tricky part is keeping the candle in the center of the mold if you actually do plan on doing this, which I'm sure all of you are going to do immediately after this class. So today we use candles for every type of occasion, and they continue to grow in popularity. And I think it's nice to have something homemade. There are lots of things that you can make on your own without purchasing, and especially if you're giving it to someone, it's a nice gesture. So anyway, let your creativity run wild and have fun making your own candles. And this is actually a visual aid here, because you're going to need to light it once it's